All right, folks, welcome back to Prepping with Sarge for the Friday Night Prepper Pre-Party Show. We're going to give people a couple minutes to get in here, get some notifications out. While we're doing that, I'm going to tell you a little bit about the channel, and then we'll go ahead and introduce my guest tonight, although I think you all know who she is. I want to start out by saying, first of all, happy National First Responders Day. Those of you who watch my channel a lot, you know I'm a big supporter of the first responder community. So if you are out there and you are watching this, you do not have to identify yourself unless you want to, of course. And just know that you are well loved and you are respected here, and we appreciate the service that you do. So second thing, and it sounds like Morgan's nodding along with me there, so I think she agrees.
Of course.
Of course.
Yes, of course.
Yes, of course, of course.
You said it well.
We have some fun stuff to talk about tonight. We are going to talk a little bit about the Twitter thing. We're going to talk, of course, about my guest's channel here and all the wonderful things that she's doing, and probably some questions that come up. So as always, if you're watching this and you're live in the chat, please let us know if you've got any questions. Throw them in caps. It's just easier for me to catch. Y'all know I'm blind as a bat. So if you throw it in caps, I have a much better chance of getting it. Hopefully a few of the mods show up and they'll help me catch stuff too. As always, we have a couple little channel rules here. You are more than welcome to give me as much of a hard time as you want. I ask you to be kind to each other in the chat. That's one of my only rules here on the channel, is just be kind to each other in the chat. And if you're watching this on the replay, be kind to each other in the comments. I don't generally block anybody, but if you do that kind of stuff, that's one way to get blocked from my channel. That being said, I do a lot of prepping content here on Tuesdays. I usually do either a skill review, such as gardening or foraging, or sometimes a product review. I'll be doing some product reviews coming up here soon. I got some new stuff to show you. And on Friday nights, we do our live stream. Love to interact with you all. So if this is your first time on the channel, please consider subscribing if you like what you see. And of course, I always appreciate a big thumbs up. That being said, I see some people in chat already. So let me go ahead and introduce a good friend of mine, somebody who's been a big inspiration for me, somebody who actually inspired me to get my channel going, and somebody who I've been following for great advice on preparedness for several years now, all the way back to when she used to call herself the Armed Rogue. And it still is in your channel thing there, which I linked earlier. But now I guess you can change that if you wanted to, but I hope you keep it because I think it's kind of cool.
So I thought I did change it. They did the new custom handles, and I thought I did change it, but apparently not. It's still that.
It's still showing up. Yeah. So I just dropped the link there. If you're watching this on replay, you'll be able to see it in the link to her on the description. But welcome, Morgan. Can you tell us a little bit about what you do with your channel? And you're also really active on a number of different platforms.
It was so funny as you were saying, I'd like to welcome the person, blah, blah, blah. And I was literally looking in the chat. I'm like, oh, who's he going to say? I'm like, oh, wow, who's here? And then you said, you used to be Armed Rogue. I was like, oh, he's talking about me.
Just me. How you been?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing great. I'm so glad you came on tonight. Thank you for coming. Of course.
I'm always happy to be here. You have a great channel, and I love everything you share. And you're a huge positivity in the community, and just
I try to be. I try to stay positive. People say that to me a lot. They're like, oh, you always keep your content positive. But what you don't know is I do get tore up sometimes. And it happened on a stream one time where I just was on a tirade about something that was going on in the silver community. And I just was going off, and I ended up only 60 people saw that. Thankfully, I ended up taking the stream down because I was like, that's not the content that I try to put out.
Well, I mean, you get passionate about things just like everyone else. It's good.
Tell everybody a little bit about your channel, what you're doing, because you're everywhere. You've got your own website, you've got a newsletter. Tell us about yourself.
I do see a lot of familiar faces in the chat, but yeah, I'm Rogue Preparedness, and I have a website and Instagram, and here on YouTube, and just try to stay pretty positive myself, and try to give, tips and advice, and try to stay away from the, too much fear mongering and all that. I wanted to do a news segment and stuff, and everyone's like, I'd love to hear your, opinion about the news. And every time I keep thinking about it, I'm just like, I just don't know that that's my channel, you know, like I think there's so many great channels doing it. And like, I just want to focus on like the skills and tips and advice and things like that to actually help people progress in their preparedness. So that's my goal with the channel and website and everything else.
Yeah, and that's really what I tried to emulate too when I created this. Like it is easy. Like I could definitely, and if you follow me on Twitter, those of you who do, you know, like I do get a little bit more political on there. You'll kind of
Mhm.
see where I stand on some stuff over there. I try not to do it here because I try to keep it neutral. I try to keep it, you
Yeah.
know, like I'll teach skills to anybody that wants to learn.
Mhm.
I don't, you know, I could get on here and we could talk some news and things like that. And inevitably it's going to run into politics when I do that. And I
Yeah.
think it can get divisive. So if you want to see my political stuff, you can follow me on Twitter. You'll get a little bit more of that. If you don't, that's fine. If you're just here for the skills, that's why this channel is here.
Mhm.
And as long as I can, I'm going to try to stay true to that.
Yeah, I do talk a little bit of politics in my stories in Instagram. Sometimes I'll just share something or whatever.
Mhm.
And but I'm always try to be neutral because I'm not one side or the other. And people like even when I like try to talk, you know, maybe bad about one side or is like freaks out because they think I'm that side. I'm like, I'm not. I think that it's all bad, it's all terrible, it's all corrupt, and it all needs to be called out, period. So
Yeah, I agree. My what's funny is my friends in real life think the ones who are progressive and liberal think I'm conservative, and the ones who are conservative think I'm progressive and liberal. So I
there
think
you
that
go.
tells you I kind of am all over the place depending on what issue we're talking about.
You gotta work all the sides, right? You never know
And
who's
there's value, yeah, there's value in hearing other people's opinions always, of
right.
course.
Hmm.
So let's say hi to chat real quick. I see Cold War Prepper. I see Titan Preparedness. Paladin's here.
Hmm.
Wasatch Wizard. Let's see. Colleen, thank you for joining us. Ronin Prepper.
A
Coin
lot of
Collecting
fun faces.
Fun. Lot of good people. Our
Hmm.
friend Bacon is here. Angie, all right. Good to see you all. Appreciate everybody. Scott Hummer, thank you for joining us. LG, thank you. Burpee Yoga Uncle, always good to see you. Aloha. Band Talk, thank you so much. Band Talk does some really good stuff too. If you ever get a chance to catch his streams.
Hmm.
All right, LG Armageddon Preparedness, thank you.
Fantastic.
Did I miss anybody? Let's see. Ronan, I said, yep. Carbon Q, good to see you, my friend. Carbon Q has been putting out some fire content too. Really, really good stuff. Make sure y'all checking her out.
Hmm.
All right, so let's get into a couple more basic things. Then maybe we'll talk a little bit about the Twitter thing.
Yeah.
You've been doing this for a long time, right? I mean, when was your channel started?
Uh, I think it was. I think it was like 8 years ago or something like that. 7 or 8 years ago.
So
Long time.
you were one of the OGs on YouTube,
Yeah, kind
right?
of. Yeah. I knew. I knew Canadian Prepper when he was just a little channel. Not that little. He's never been a little channel. Let's just be honest.
Yeah. Yeah. Did he blow up pretty fast?
Yeah, he
Good.
did. He
Yeah.
grew pretty fast.
Very
But
cool.
it was pretty cool to see like the Urban Prepper and Canadian Prepper, like the really big channels now. Then and they how they've evolved and stuff like that, and it's pretty cool.
Awesome. So you've been doing it since 2015. Did you always were you just, did you, if somebody had said to you before all this, do you consider yourself a prepper, or would you have used like different lingo? Like we never used that. Like I learned gardening and survival skills growing up and stuff like that, but we never called it prepper or prepping. It was like that kind of came about after the show Doomsday Preppers. What,
Mhm.
how did you think about that kind of stuff?
So we had an opposite life. You grew up with all that stuff, and I did not. Like my mom canned, and she like dehydrated, and like we would always be prepared for road trips and stuff like that. But it wasn't out of preparedness. I mean, it was out of preparedness, but it wasn't out of like a prepper sort of mindset. It was just I'm just going to can all my own stuff. I'm going to make, my kids all their own clothing. She sews and quilts and all these things because that's what her mom did, and that's what she did growing up, in the time that she grew up. And so that was just something that, she did and we did and whatever. So, and then I learned that and yeah. So I didn't do it though until I was in my late 20s. I didn't really care about any of that. I didn't care about, I loved camping. I loved being outdoors and all that, but I never, is that baby me?
Is that you or me? I don't think it's me.
I'm like looking around for a notification. I'm like, what's beeping?
Yeah. Unless StreamYard added it for something, I don't know. I don't think that's me. Are you getting a yeah, it's not an email or anything like that. Are you getting any messages in the background?
No, I don't see anything. Like I have everything closed. Weird. I don't know. I just updated my OS, so it's like maybe it's doing something weird that I don't know. Okay. Anyway, so yeah. So in my late 20s, then I got into it, and now I'm like hardcore into it, and yeah. That's basically it.
So Bacon asked if I follow you on Twitter. I do actually, but you don't post that much over there anymore?
So I'm pretty sure
your account is still active over there.
Yeah, it is. I'm pretty sure Bacon and I were really like communicative on Twitter. We might have met on Twitter. I don't remember. But yeah, I was really, really active on Twitter, but I got really burned out with it because it's a lot, it's so much like negativity and hatred. And I couldn't take it anymore. And so I had to leave, and I deleted my account, but then like I reactivated it quietly. And I've never, I never went back. I do still have the account, and I keep thinking, oh, I'll go back, but I don't have the time and nor energy nor want or desire to go back onto Twitter. Even with Elon Musk taking over, I'm still like, meh.
Yeah. Well, we'll get into that a little bit more. Band Talk, I saw your comment there. I would say, yeah, keep trying, because I am seeing a lot of messages from people who had their accounts suspended that are suddenly getting reactivated. So it's already starting to happen. And
yeah,
I promise you, I promise y'all we are going to get into that in a second. Paladin's been banned 13 times. That's awesome.
That's a lot, boy. I wouldn't know what you're being banned for.
Well, that's the thing. People were getting banned for like everybody. You know what? Let's just go ahead and get into it. Let's just go ahead.
Yeah, we're talking about it. Let's do it.
Yeah, we're already dancing around it. So a lot of people were, people who were assuming. I saw a lot of chatter about this. I've been following this a lot. I've been pretty active on Twitter in the last year. And, there's an assumption that everybody who got banned was doing something wrong, like saying something offensive. And by offensive, I mean like racially offensive or something like that, or that they were promoting false information. But that's just not true.
Yeah,
it's just not true. People were getting banned for just having different political viewpoints. And if you don't believe me, if you're watching this and you say, no, that's not true, Sarge, I want you to go on. There's undercover video of interviews with Twitter employees acknowledging that this was happening. Okay. Yeah. And it's Project Veritas. And when I said this to a friend, he was like, oh, Project Veritas, you can't trust them, blah, 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 blah. It doesn't matter if you agree with their politics. It's undercover video of people talking to Twitter employees admitting this. So put your politics aside for a second and seek truth, right?
Yeah.
That's the thing. Just let's look at what was really happening here. So there was a lot of people getting shut down, and Paladin, I don't know if you were in this boat, or Band Talk if you're in this boat, really for just having a different viewpoint. And they would get, swarmed with like reports or whatever. And then in these videos that you can watch that are on Project Veritas, which is on YouTube, they're basically saying, a lot of the employees who were part of the monitoring basically said that they had free reign to shadow ban or whatever, whoever they wanted for whatever reason, right? So don't take my word for it. Go watch the videos yourself and then make your decision, right? But if you're saying, oh no, it's only because you're putting out false information and things like that, you need to fact check that, because you all love your fact checking. So go and fact check it, right?
Right, but even the fact checkers are just the volunteers, right? And they're fact checking whatever they want to fact check to be factually correct. So,
Yeah.
yeah, even Facebook admitted that. But so yeah, I mean, it's a big tech, and they are just as corrupt as any other big tech. And quite honestly, I'm not really sure Elon's going to do too much to change Twitter, except that, he's basically saying like he's going to unban Trump and like all these other accounts. And he said, I would reverse the permaban. We should never have a permanent ban. That's what Musk said. And he's like, one of the first people he wants to unban is Trump. And so and Trump was like, I don't know if I want to go back to Twitter, basically. And
Yeah.
he has his own social platform, Truth Social, which I am not joined. I just cannot keep up with all these social platforms. I don't
Yeah.
care. And so anyway, but yeah, that's basically what a lot of people and now I just started searching through this, but that's what I've seen a good remark of, is like he's going to unban Trump. Like this is some like historic event or
and it
something.
doesn't sound like Trump wants to come back on Twitter anyways. He's got his own thing now, so
Yeah.
um,
And he should be unbanned, but should a whole bunch of other people too. It's not just Trump. It's thousands of people that have been permanently banned for just having a different opinion. I mean, and then what really gets me is that there are accounts on there that are sharing like child pornography and literally soliciting all of that stuff. And they're just like, no, I don't see that this is, against our policy. It's totally fine.
yeah, this does not violate our community standards.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I've seen that too, and I do report that if I see somebody posting, exploitation of minors' pictures. I'll report that every time, and
Yeah.
I have no problem reporting that. But yeah, it's like nothing gets done with that stuff. So
Nope, it never will.
yeah. So the answer to that, Uncle, is yes. That's already starting to happen. The executive staff was fired almost immediately, or most of the executive staff, and then some of the line staff and programmers were let go as of today as well. Good evening, Matt. Good to see you. Scott got banned in 2017 for being MAGA. I am sorry. You should not be banned just for your political viewpoints. Unban anyone you just so there's that's right. Paladin's right. So they well, yes, but I have also seen people saying that their accounts got restored. So I think it is happening to some extent. But he is going to put together like a moderation council. So yeah. I think this is going to be interesting, Morgan. I am on the side of free speech. With there does need to be consequences and limitations to certain things. Like you said, the child exploitation is a great example, right? I don't think it's okay to threaten people online. I mean, it's a stupid thing to do anyways, because you're basically writing your own evidence. But
right.
But there are certain things that I think should have some limitations. So free speech has consequences. Free speech has limits. But at the same time, for most stuff, if I disagree with somebody, let's say you went on there and you said, I hate chickens. Everybody should, eat, cricket flour.
How about every vegan in existence starts saying, stop eating meat? I mean,
right.
What if we just to ban all vegans or something? Like, it's just not.
Yeah, and the simplest solution to that is I can block. Right.
Yeah.
If there's something going on that's bothering me, I don't need to have you banned. I can just block it. And I don't know why we've lost this. It's really frustrating. And I don't think people who are in support of heavy censorship understand what the real long-term repercussions of this is. When voices are silenced, you may think, oh, that's okay because it's somebody that I disagree with. I don't like what they're saying, so they should be silenced. It's a matter of time before your voice is silenced too.
I said that it was almost like really quickly after Trump got banned. And I said, this is a problem, not because I love Trump, but because this is setting a precedent that it's okay to just ban whoever you want. And as we're seeing in the comment section, they literally are banning whoever they want.
Yeah.
And for having different opinions. I have to believe that these people who are getting banned here in the comment section were not being violent or exploiting anyone or anything like that. They probably just had a different of opinion. We're very strong-willed about it, and that's fine. So yeah, and so I said that in a video once. I was like, this is setting a precedent, this is wrong. And everyone's just like, good, glad he's banned. Blah, 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 and I'm like, well, okay. Like, if you think this is okay, wait until the day they ban you for saying something that they didn't like. Right. And now you're going to be all upset about it. I can't believe they banned me because of this. Well, you wanted it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's why it's the First Amendment, right? Because it's the most important one. Freedom of speech. And I don't know, it baffles me that people don't get this. I grew up in the 70s and 80s, and a lot of my same friends who I remember going to school with, who I'm still in contact with, who, when Tipper Gore was trying to censor all the music, Tipper and Al Gore back in the 80s wanted to censor all the music, and we were all like, you can't censor, that's that's bogus, right? And I remember Dee Snider going to court for Twisted Sister and all these things. These same people who were my friends who were like, yeah, censorship is bad in the 80s are now like, yeah, censorship is good when it's in our favor, right?
Exactly, when it's in your favor.
Yeah. So it's going to be an interesting experiment, right? Because this has really never been done before. We could say, okay, maybe some of these other platforms like Parler or Rumble, I'm not on them, I don't know. But I know that it's not a 50-50 split, right? So if you're on Parler or Rumble, there's a pretty good chance that you're conservative. Yeah. And if you were on Twitter up until now, it was probably like 75% progressive or liberal, right? And so we've never had a pool of people that was close to 50-50. Yeah. And it's going to be interesting to see if it can play out. I think it's from a sociological standpoint, I'm very, very excited to see what will happen, to see, can this work? And I hope it can, right?
Yeah. I think Twitter is probably the closest platform to that. I remember getting on Twitter when it first started, and I remember being able to text tweets you texted a tweet onto the platform, and that was like they didn't have an app because it didn't exist back then. It wasn't even like a legit smartphone for it, or at least I didn't have it. I don't remember. I'm pretty sure there was not an app. Maybe there was, but it was terrible. Anyway, but yeah, I mean, and it was a really cool place back then, and it's but it can still be a cool place. It can still be a place that everybody can just express their opinions, and they can still talk about what they eat and whatever. And if you want to disagree, and whatever, we can all coexist. Something that was brought up the other day, something about how politics were so taboo, to talk about. What don't you talk about at the dinner table? Politics, religion. What was the other one? Anyway, politics and religion was pretty much the main
and cricket flour.
There you go. You do not talk about cricket flour. You do not talk about politics. You do not talk about religion, right?
Right.
And so, but they're like, we've never talked about this stuff, so we don't know how to talk about it. We just argue with each other because we have our opinions and they have their opinions, and we have no idea how to talk about it. We have no idea how to come to an agreement that, yes, we can have a legit debate about this. Yes, maybe you will change my mind. Maybe I'll change your mind. Maybe we can just talk and not come to any conclusion in which either minds are changed. Right. And it's the same with money too. Like, nobody talks about money. Yeah. Because all these things have been so taboo for so long, and so everybody's just getting out all their rage and comments and arguments and everything on Twitter or the social media and everything, but we still don't know how to talk about it. So yeah,
it's true, and the alternative, of course, is if this doesn't work, right? Let's say it devolves into this. Elon called it, like, we're not going to let it become a hellscape or a free-for-all hellscape or something like that, right? So let's say that it does, and it just becomes this platform where people are just completely horrible to each other. Well, then I think we've learned a great deal there about, maybe it can't work, and maybe this is why we can't have nice things.
Right.
But it's never been attempted, so we don't know.
Yeah.
And I don't think people should fear an attempt at free speech, right?
Mhm.
That's the part that I just don't get. It's hard for me to wrap my head around. Like, I can disagree with plenty of politics. I have a lot of strong opinions about different things. I'm very
Mhm.
much. People who know me would say I'm very progressive about the environment, right? I care
Mhm.
about plants. I'm anti-chemical as much as I can be, things like that. But I can still listen. I have friends who are pro GMO and try to make a case for it with me. I don't agree with them, but I'll listen to them and I'll
Right.
hear what they have to say, right? And if we just have the go back to echo chambers where you know the right can have Parlor or whatever, and the left can have Twitter, it's just an echo chamber. And look where that's gotten us as a society. We're not going in a good direction. We're drifting further and further into like extremes and polarization and stuff like that, and that's not going to go to a good place. I think eventually that ends in even worse than we've seen. It's
Yeah,
going to.
it already hasn't gotten to a good place. We've seen the violence of, oh, look at that, person with a MAGA hat or whatever, and they're ripping it off people's heads, or they're, literally physically attacking people because they know that they're on the other side or whatever. And this is what's so disturbing about politics to begin with, is that, um, you can't just talk about like, oh, well, I have this, opinion about this. You have to either be left or right. You have to be labeled a certain way. And it's like, maybe I just believe what I believe. And
No.
maybe one day I'll change my mind if we have a discussion about it. But, I mean, we've gotten literally so violent about it because I don't know why.
I think my guess is two things. I think the media has polarized people, and I think social media has polarized people. That's the echo
Mhm.
chamber, right? So, like, if I'm only listening to, for example, Fox News or CNN, I'm only getting one side of the story, and that's
Right.
and so it gets reinforced and reinforced. There's actually in psychology, there's this. It's almost like I hate to use this term because people are going to get ticked off about it. It's almost like a brainwashing. Like, you keep hearing the same thing over and over again,
Mhm.
and the idea of anything opposite that is like a trigger for you, and you're going to
Yeah.
get reactive to it. So in my mind, if we're going to somehow figure out a way out of this, because I hate violence, if we're going to, we have to start listening to each other, and that's why I'm excited about this.
Yeah, for sure. Um, what you're explaining was explained by I don't know if you ever heard the comic The Oatmeal. He did a
No.
whole comic on that exact topic, and I can't remember exactly what the psychological term is, but it's your brain, and it's something that you, like, said, you are growing up with a perception. This is right, this is wrong, whatever, right? So when you are told that that thing that you thought was right is now wrong, or whatever, it's your brain is now going to say, no, no, that person is wrong. I believe this is right, and it is right. And you start to get defensive, and um, your brain is trying to protect you and that information that so true,
Right.
right? And so
Confirmation. There it is right there. Confirmation bias.
confirmation bias. Thank you. Yes, it is a confirmation bias. And so, yeah, it's basically our brain just trying to protect us of the information that we think we know.
Right.
And if we can recognize that, because we all have our triggers when it comes, to the stuff that we think we know. And if we can just, understand, okay, well, I'm being triggered about this. Let's just hear them out. Or, maybe I am still right, but let's just hear it. Why not? Who cares? Or don't, or walk away. I don't care, but like, whatever.
Right. Yeah, yeah. If you're done, somebody asked if you were drinking Snapple. So
Oh, yeah.
Snapple iced tea.
Yeah, it's a Snapple tea. It's my new sponsor. I'm
All
just
right.
kidding.
Oh,
No,
awesome. I love that. Well, I am drinking water.
your
My
sponsor's
new
water.
sponsor.
Your sponsor's the bottled water company. You're killing streams and natural springs.
Oh, people get fired up about bottled water too. Like, I carry bottled water in my car because of the work that I do, and I encounter a lot of homeless people and stuff like that.
Mhm,
And I've had people
mhm.
get mad that have gotten in my car like, "Why do you have bottled water? Do you know how bad this is for the environment?" Well, first of all, don't preach at me about the environment, because I will start to preach back. I'm somebody who
Yeah.
cares a lot about that. And second of all, start by asking me, because I would have told you that I have that so they give to homeless people that when I encounter them. So
Right. I actually did watch a documentary about the bottled water company, and it's not all great,
no,
but I think that there's definitely a good place for bottled water. There's definitely a good place for bottled water. I think it's gone to an extreme for
yeah,
sure, but definitely a place for it. I like it.
yeah. So if you're out there and you're mad about bottled water, don't come at me. Don't come at me,
And
because
mad
I will
mad
make you
about
get in the car
Snapple
with
and
me.
how toxic it is or whatever. I don't care. I'm gonna drink.
Yeah. I will make you get in the car with me. We're gonna drive around. We're gonna hit all the tent cities, and you're gonna understand why I carry the bottled water.
Yeah, yeah, for real. I've given plenty of bottles of water away. It's the good way to do it.
Absolutely. All right. So Twitter, did we hit on most of that? Any other thoughts before we kind of move on to something else?
I think people might expect glorious change to Twitter, and I'm not 100% sold on that glorious change. So
Hang on
yeah,
one second.
but
I lost my
yeah, you're so dark. Where'd you go?
yeah, it's my ring light. I think it just unplugged. You know what? We're gonna roll with it. I'm gonna stream in the dark.
You're fine. You're
All right.
fine.
What do you think we should be preparing for the next 6 months? What are you focusing on?
So I don't know. I'm at a prep I'm a stage in my preparedness where I kind of just I'm working so much on skills right now, skills that I foresee I might need one day, such as like more kind of off-grid stuff. So like I don't know if this makes sense, but like I'm trying to focus more like on making lots of more things from scratch, working more with sourdough, trying to find more local sources for food and, like local farms and foraging and trying to work more on hunting and fishing. And I'm trying to, can off grid and all this other stuff. So like I'm trying to think of life the way I used to live off grid, but like, just kind of in a, I don't know how to explain it, but I don't feel like anything, super bad or like, we're all going to be, apocalyptic or anything anytime soon. But I just feel like, um, working on skills is so important right now. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. So you've actually, I don't know if everybody in the audience knows this, you have lived in some pretty extreme environments and you were basically off grid, right?
Yeah, I was off grid for 2 years.
Right. What was the hardest part about that?
Well, we hauled our own water. I guess that was the hardest part, but I don't know. It was just kind of like routine. Like everything we did was routine. It wasn't like, I don't know. I don't really know if there was like a super hard part. I mean, we had everything we wanted. We could make do. We could figure it out. We had our, systems. We had our, we had water and food and ways to keep warm and cool and whatever else we needed. So it really wasn't like, I don't know. Yeah. I loved it. So
yeah, and for those of you who haven't seen this or if Morgan's channel is kind of new to you, you're all that stuff's still on your channel, right? It's just they have to go back a couple years.
Yeah, no, I mean, not even a couple years, like a year, maybe.
Yeah.
I'm trying to do more like I realized I never showed some systems and stuff that we did. So I'm going to try to like go back and like try to show kind of what we did a little bit and trying to write like a whole book on that too, just to help people figure out that stuff, especially with like solar and stuff. People just have a really hard time with figuring out solar. And I get it because like, my husband gets it, but I'm just like, whew, like goes over my head real quick. So yeah.
Am I wrong? Is he a pilot too?
He is, yeah.
He is. Okay, I thought that. Okay. Now, have you had Van City on your channel at all, or do you interact with her at all?
No.
Her husband's a helicopter pilot.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Josh would love to do that, but that's like $500 an hour or something to become to train to become
I
a
know.
helicopter pilot. So
It's
that's
so
pretty
expensive
crazy.
in so many hours. Hey, Biggs Prep. Hey, Uncle Al, good to see you. I saw a few other people pop in here. Thank you so much for people who are popping in. Guest today, obviously, is Morgan from Road Preparedness. And if you missed the beginning of this, it might be worth, excuse me, it might be worth going back and checking it out. We had a pretty good 30-minute discussion there about free speech and Twitter and where we think that could all be going. So you lived, Bacon put it up here. You lived in both the desert and you lived in Arctic Alaska, right?
Yes. Yes.
So which one is more challenging?
Honestly, Alaska was more challenging.
Yeah.
Even though there are a plethora of resources in Alaska, the seasons to get those resources are so small. It's just so short. It's a few months, literally like 3-ish months, 3.5 months or so. And then the rest of the time, I mean, you're snowed in. And yes, you can go out in the snow and you can do whatever, but I think that's the toughest part to get used to, is just being snowed in for 6 months, and that's hard. That's really, really hard.
Yeah.
So
How did you heat the house?
we had a wood stove, and we also had a legit, like, huge propane stove. It was cool, and it was so efficient and so hot. But we did both. Our oven, our stove, wood stove, was not very efficient, so we were up like every 2 hours, and everybody kept trying to say, just stuff it. But ours wasn't like that. You couldn't just stuff it and then be done for the night. It didn't work like that. And so yeah, we were trying to save up for a new one, a catalytic stove, and that was going to be more efficient, and we didn't have to get up every 2 hours to feed and all that. But yeah, it was it just didn't work out that way. But yeah, lots of learning experiences. It was fun though.
Yeah. So the couple of times when I've done cold weather camping in cabins and things like that, you learn pretty quick that not all wood is created equal, right?
I'm sorry, not all what?
Not all wood, like for your stove, is created
Yeah.
equal, right?
Yeah,
So
it's true.
which ones did you find? Do you remember which ones like burned longer and hotter?
Well, there's the hardwood and softwood. So we had spruce and which is a softwood, and then we had
Is there oak?
birch.
Birch. Okay.
Yeah, birch, and mainly spruce and birch. I'm sure maybe in other places other trees, but around our specific area it was spruce and birch. Birch is a hardwood, so we didn't have a ton of hardwood that had been cut that was ready to burn. So we had to burn a lot of spruce, and it burns very fast. It burns very hot, very, very hot, but very fast. And so that was definitely a problem too. But we had a ton of yes, not all wood is equal. That's right.
I walked into that one.
You sure did. So yeah, but yeah, we kind of knew that going into it, but there was really nothing we could do about it. Even if we had cut down a bunch of spruce or a bunch of birch in the spring, we couldn't have used it until next year anyway. So,
Okay. Any other lessons that you would pass on to viewers about, Arctic or desert living, is off grid or close to off grid?
Sorry, I was reading. Yeah, so I just think that people should probably get to know what they're getting into. And like a lot of people give certain areas a hard time, like they say the desert's the worst, but the high desert is where it's at. Like I was at 4,000 feet elevation. And that's like the minimum I would go back to. I actually want to go to like 6,000 feet because you get snow at 6,000. I mean, like legit, like sticks for a while snow, and it gets really cold and way colder temps. It is still desert, but it's a high desert. And then New Mexico has the same, New Mexico and Arizona, they both have high deserts. It snows in those places and things like that. So not all places are the same. And it's like you say Alaska. Well, not all of Alaska is the same. The far north of Alaska is way more extreme than like where I was in South Central. And even more so, even more southern than I was. In fact, I have a friend who I have a few friends that I follow on Instagram. One of them was in South Central and got some snow. The other one was an hour and a half south and got no snow.
Interesting.
So yeah, it's so different in so many parts of any state that you go to. It's not just Alaska or Arizona or whatever, but just because you hear that, like, oh, well, Oregon's so beautiful. Well, there's desert in Oregon too, like there's all sorts of regions and everything everywhere. So
and rainforest.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Hey Steve, I just saw you pop in. Good to see you. All right, so let's see. All right, so what about the food storage hysteria? what are your thoughts on this? Are we going to have empty shelves all winter long, or do you think it's more like what I say, which is like more of the same, right? So we've had a couple issues here where we may say, okay, we need to go get butter, right? The store I go to may not have butter, but I can literally go half a mile down the road and I can find butter. It may be expensive. It may be expensive. But I can find butter. What do you think is going to happen here?
I actually completely agree with you, and it's something that I'm seeing here pretty consistently. And one, like exactly what you said. One store maybe is out of a bunch of stuff, but I'll go to another one and let's got it. But I think prices are going to continue to increase. I don't see that changing. I don't see anything going down. There's still some really good deals to be had for sure, but I just don't know that I foresee any, like, I don't know. I don't like to say that I foresee, because I never foresaw like a pasta shortage, and I never foresaw a butter shortage. If you had asked me what shortages you foresee, I would have said rice and oats, which I have seen are actual in news saying that there's definitely shortages because of less crops and whatever else. But if you had asked me butter, I would have said no way, it's fine, we got plenty.
Yeah, and we use a ton of that here because my wife is a baker. So like we notice, like if we can't get butter, that's a problem. We can't do business. Like we're done. So that gets a little scary when, like, she'll text me and she's like, I'm at, Food Lion or whatever, no butter. All right, I'm going to try Publix next, goes over there. Okay, phew, we got it, but it's expensive, And so it's something.
Listen, hold on. You just need a cow. Okay. This will solve your problems.
I live in the city, right?
I don't care. Just get like a little miniature cow. They make little mini cows. Yeah.
That would be fun.
It'll be fine.
Yeah. A little mini or a goat, right?
There you go. Goats. Yeah. Because they don't escape. They'll be fine.
Bacon, I don't know, but I eat a lot of popcorn too. So that would make me very sad.
I eat a lot of popcorn too. Yeah. I suck up on a crazy amount of popcorn. I don't know about you, but yeah.
Popcorn. And we always, because what my wife does, we always have sweets in the house. Like there's an endless supply of cookies, and people are like, oh, or like, how do you not gain weight? Well, I do. I struggle with that. I have to, I have to stay very, very active because I love sweets. And I'm not giving them up. Don't come at me.
No, me neither. No.
And Steve's here, so I'm gonna catch heck for that later on, because he's always talking about people eating their Cheetos. So and I told him, I said, I don't eat Cheetos. It's the truth. I don't eat Cheetos. I eat cookies.
It's the sweets.
That's right.
Oh, we make so many sweets around here. It's crazy.
What's your favorite?
I really like cookies, like all different types of cookies. I just think that they're really simple to eat. They're really simple to make, all different types of cookies. I also really like to make a bunch of different types of crackers. I love cinnamon rolls, but man, it's such a process to make cinnamon rolls. So I'm just like,
You're speaking my language. How about here's a question for you. What's a prep that you think people could easily do, cheap, right, or no cost at all, and people tend to neglect this one?
Your mental and physical wellness.
Yeah.
Basically costs nothing to do any of those things. So
Yeah.
either of those things, really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Takes time. And you don't need to have a gym membership, and you don't need to have fancy equipment, you know?
No. I lost all my baby weight from both babies by just going to the look, I love Oreos. Stop it. You're ruining this for me. Okay. So yeah, by just going to the local park, free park, and jogging every day for like 3 months or something, and I lost it. That's it.
That's awesome.
And yeah, it takes a lot of effort, and yeah, I really didn't want to. And I still really don't like working out. But like, you can find something you enjoy. Like there's all sorts of like Nintendo workout games and stuff like that. If you like that stuff, I was looking into one the other day. We have a Switch, and it has like a workout video game or whatever, and it looked pretty cool. You could do that right in your living room. Of course, that costs money, but I'm just saying, like, if you already have it or whatever. There's hiking, there's walking around the block, like, get your whole family involved. The kids love going to the park and just walking around foraging, right? That's exercise, getting outside and helping your mental well-being.
Even gardening, like, if you're getting in there and you're weeding and you're moving compost around and stuff like that, I get a good sweat going. It can, you're definitely getting physical activity. Is it as good as maybe, taking a heavy duty class or what's the high intensity stuff, No, but you're still being more active than you would be sitting on the couch,
Totally. I think consistency is definitely really important too. Like, even if it's like, some people like to see things take quick action. Okay, hold on. I have to answer this.
Me too.
It has to be the double stuff, whatever. I think you're probably referring to the most stuff, but the double stuff. I think it's double stuff, mega, and then I think they had like an insane one that was like, it was like this tall or something. I don't remember. It was like crazy. It's too big.
Have you had the fudge dipped ones though?
No, I never have. You know what? I do draw a line on some things. Some things I'm like, all right, that's too much for me.
Yeah. Oh, the fudge ones are a game changer. They're like, you bite into one and you'll hear a chorus of angels singing in the background.
Well, don't tell me that. Now I had to try it, but I'll probably get addicted to it, so I can't try it.
All right, let's see. All right, so I'll add to that one. I'll say a prep that people forget. You can, so many skill-based things you can do for free. You don't have to, is it good to have books in your prepper library? Definitely. People should do that. But if you're on a really tight budget, because everybody is right now because of inflation, just go through the prepping channels and find a video, like a new skill, like fire starting, or how to make feather sticks, or how to make a deadfall trap for catching game, how to forage, how to make medicinal plant medicine, right? How to dehydrate when you don't have a dehydrator, right? Like, there's ways to do all that stuff very, very cheaply. Those good old-fashioned homesteading and bushcraft skills are, very, very cheap to learn. And when money's tight, don't think, I can't prep this week. You absolutely can find something new to learn, or something that you already learned but you want to get a little bit better at.
Yeah. Actually, just practicing an old skill is good enough too. A lot of people just want to keep learning new and new and new, but just learn, practicing an old skill. Maybe you'll learn something new, or you'll just be happy with, how you perform with it or whatever. Most of us do the same things over and over. You're going to have to start fires. You're going to have to can. You're going to have to, go look for wild edibles. You're going to have to do all these things over and over and over again. So, get used to it.
Yep. And some first aid even can be learned, just from books that you can borrow from the library. Not everything. Like, some stuff you are going to have to take a class and train with a person, but some stuff like basic bandaging and stuff like that, you can learn that stuff, and that's really good knowledge to have. All right, let's go to how do they start to follow your newsletter, your website? Like where I know I've been plugging your YouTube channel here, but where else can people find you?
Yeah, just you can basically just search Google for road preparedness, and I'll come up wherever I am. I'm on the places that I'm major are my website, YouTube, and Instagram. Those are 3 places that I am the most. And then on my website, there'll be the newsletter, and all that I send out once a month and stuff like that. So.
Okay, and I do recommend people get on Morgan's newsletter. I open it up, and there's always cool stuff in there, cool tips. Definitely want to check that out. And of course, on Instagram, she's always got cool stuff on there. We have a lot of Oreos comments here. Let's back this up a little bit.
I see chocolate covered mint Oreos.
Yeah, we need to check this out. Okay, so.
Oh, most stuff Oreos have 4 times the filling of a single. I don't know. I think that might be too much.
The Oreo thins are not enough, though. I'm going to say those are not enough.
That's true. This is why I get the double stuff, because the just normal original ones is not enough. So I had to get the double stuff. And then my child only and then my child only eats the stuff. So, I have to just get the double stuff just for her, because she won't eat the rest of it, right?
It's for her. Yeah, it's for, think of the children. Think of the children.
Exactly.
Yeah. Chocolate covered mint Oreos. I've not had the mint ones. That sounds good. I would definitely try that.
Really good. I love chocolate and mint.
Yeah. That is a good channel. Lazarus Long. Thank you for suggesting.
Oh my gosh. We literally sit around as a family and just watch those for hours. Like we'd have it just on the TV. And then there's a lot of knockoffs, but the original primitive technology, he's good.
Yeah.
I think he just started making videos again this year. Like he wasn't for like years. But
gluten-free. I didn't know they made gluten-free Oreos. That's cool.
Nice.
That's very nice.
Gluten-free everything these days.
Absolutely.
That's good.
All right, you ready for the rapid fire round?
Oh, okay.
All right. It's not that bad.
Okay, I'm ready.
All right. First off, pocket check. What do you got? Did I bust you?
I literally emptied my pockets before, and I thought to myself, I said, I bet he's going to do a pocket check. And I was like, nah, whatever. I'm going to put it out anyway. Oh. I knew you were going to do it.
All right. Favorite book in your prepper library?
Oh, that's a good one. I think I really change based on kind of what I'm doing. But right now, my favorite book is it's the Homestead Sourdough Cookbook by Georgia. I don't want to say her last name because I'm pretty sure I'm going to butcher it. Yes, okay. If I could find a way to Mylar bag double stuffed Oreos, I probably would.
Bacon's coming at you.
I've seen people make homemade Oreos. I don't know how that goes, but yeah.
My wife does something with, I can't believe I didn't mention this. She makes a chocolate chip cookie stuffed with an Oreo cookie inside. So the chocolate chip bakes around the Oreo cookie.
Wow.
Yeah, if you're out this way, we'll ask her to make some.
My goodness. That is quite the treat.
And when it comes right out of the oven, that's the best, because like the Oreo inside is melty, and it's so good.
Oh my gosh.
By the way, we're getting near the end, folks. If you all have any questions, either from Morgan or myself, make sure you're throwing them in chat. And if you're watching this on replay, definitely check out the chat. There's been some good stuff going on in there. So yeah, throw out your questions now, because we're getting pretty close to the end. All right, pineapple on pizza, yes or no?
100,000% yes.
Okay. Would you mix it with something salty like ham?
Yeah, the Canadian bacon. Yeah, that's a classic. Really good. I love just pineapple on pizza though. Whatever. Like I'll do pineapple and black olives. It's really good.
Okay. Favorite flashlight?
Oh, it's a good one. I have a little rechargeable Streamlight. It's like my all-time favorite, and I'm pretty sure I lost it because one of the kids got a hold of it. But but yeah, that's my favorite.
Star Wars or Star Trek?
Star Wars.
Good choice. I knew I liked you. Favorite knife?
Favorite knife?
Yeah.
I thought I heard knight, and I was like, a knight of the round table, or what are we talking about here? I don't know nothing about that. Favorite knife. I actually, so it's a Browning. I don't know what it is. It was one of the first knives I ever bought for myself, and it was very expensive. It was like $100, and my husband was like, "Why are you spending $100 on a knife?" And it's the most beautiful knife, and I still use it to this day. And I can't remember. It's like a black something or tactical black or something like that, but it's just smooth and beautiful. I love it. It's by Browning.
Fixed blade?
It's a folder. For
Oh, it's a
fixed.
folder. Okay.
Yeah, for fixed, I like tops.
Mhm.
Anything but tops.
Yeah. Favorite food for the prepper pantry?
I guess popcorn.
Good choice. What about favorite, like prepackaged, like, Mountain House or Augustin Farms or
I really like ReadyWise. ReadyWise has come out with some really good meals lately. Like when they changed their name, they used to be Wise Food, and then they changed to ReadyWise. When they changed their name to ReadyWise, man, they just like their quality and their food like really upgraded, and they're good. They're my favorite now.
Nice. How about Beatles or Rolling Stones? Not a classic rock fan?
Skip. No, I am not them.
Not either of them. Okay.
No. Sorry.
Favorite survival movie?
I haven't. You know what? I watched one recently. I can't remember the name. Maybe it was Mom or something. It was like it's a robot. It's like I am Mom or I am something like that, and it's Taco Bell or Arby's. Oh, that's a hard one. I love them both. I had to say Arby's though.
Arby's. Okay.
Arby's. I think it was like I am Mom or you are Mom or me is Mom or something like that. It's a robot one where the robots have taken over, and they create. They want to create like the perfect child, I guess, and so they've created like okay, I'm not going to give it away. Sorry. Anyway, it's a pretty good one.
Anybody in there that I would know?
No, actually, no. It's not even like a super popular one. I think it's maybe not foreign, but like there was no subtitles and they spoke English, but I feel like it was not made in the United States.
Okay.
But anyway, it was good.
Is it on Netflix?
You asked me really tough questions. Wow. It was either on Amazon Prime or Netflix or Hulu or one of them.
Okay. Oh, okay. Here's the answer here. Big's got it for us.
Mother.
Okay.
Got it. Thank you.
Thank you, Big.
Yes.
Have you seen The Gray with Liam Neeson?
I feel like I have. That's the wolf one?
That's the one with the wolves. That's one of my favorite survival movies. Love that movie. Yeah.
That's where is he like hiding in the woods at one point and then the wolves are like surrounding him? Yeah. That's a good one.
Yeah. So I'm not going to spoil too much here, but if you all are in chat, if you haven't seen The Gray, it's got Liam Neeson in it. It is, I think it's based on a book. I've never read the book though. It's a plane crash in like way out in either Alaska or somewhere in Canada. I don't remember. And basically a pack of wild wolves finds the survivors, and it's basically comes down to the humans versus the wolves, and it's intense and it's really good.
Yeah. I do remember that being really good.
Mm-hmm. All right, so as we start to wind down here, I want to say I have a couple messages I always end out with. I'm gonna change it up a little bit today. So if you haven't already, if you're somehow not subscribed to Morgan's channel, please go over there and check it out. I'll drop the link here. And if you're watching this on replay, of course, it's going to be in the description. And then search What's that?
Well, I'm sorry. I like a Cold War prepper's answer for the Taco Bell or Arby's. Taco Arby's.
Taco Arby's.
That's like the most beautiful combination.
Can it be done?
Anything can be done, but should it?
Should it be done? Escape from New York is also a fun one. That's from what, the 70s, I think, right? With who's in that? It's like really futuristic, and they send him into, like, half the city has been basically turned into this free-for-all prison. Like, there's no guards, but you can't escape. And they sent him in there because the president has been kidnapped and is being held behind the prison walls, and he has to get the president and get out.
Wow.
Yeah. Is it Kurt Russell? Is it Kurt Russell? Chat? You can let me know.
Have you seen the 12 Monkeys series?
The 12 Monkey series, I've not watched it.
Oh, that's good. That's a good one. 12 Monkeys the movies is great, but the series, really good, I think.
I don't Burpee Yoga Uncle, I don't know if you and I are thinking about the same movie. Hasn't it? But more of a spirit. Oh, it is a spiritual journey too. That is true. It is a spiritual. Kurt Russell. Okay. Thank you, Steve. Appreciate it. So this 12 Monkey series is good. Is it anything like the movie? Is it like the set before the movie, or?
You know, I couldn't place the timeline, to be quite honest, but it's basically just them just trying to go back, to the past to change the future, just, going back over and over and over again. And it's just them and, like, a few other people or whatever. And, but it's good. It's really good. Okay. I highly recommend it.
I'll definitely check that out.
Mm-hmm.
So if you haven't subscribed to Morgan's channel, please check it out. Also on Instagram, also has a website, also has a newsletter, also hopefully has a book coming out, it sounds like. Right? Hopefully we can get you back on Twitter. It sounds like we got our work cut out for you, convincing you to do that. I really appreciate you. You've been such an inspiration for my channel, and I really appreciate your friendship too. I know you were one of the first people I reached out to when I was thinking about starting my own channel, and you were so encouraging, and just kind of said, do whatever you want to do, and a couple times I asked you for advice, and you always got back to me really, really quickly. So not only do I appreciate your content, I appreciate your friendship.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Me too.
Everybody in the audience, before we wind down, I always try to end with a little bit of a positive message on the Friday night stream. So I'm going to change it up a little bit tonight, being that it is the National First Responders Day. My message for today is, number one, just about everybody knows somebody who's a first responder. Maybe it's somebody, a family member, maybe it's a friend, maybe it's a cousin, whatever, long lost high school friend or whatever. Just reach out to them and say thank you. They get a lot of crap. People have been really hard on first responders in the last couple of years, and it's it definitely has taken a morale hit for many of them. So let them know you appreciate them. Let them know that that their service is hard, and unless you've actually sat down and listened to some of their stories, you really don't know how hard it's been. I've heard some really, really hard things that most people would not be able to do what first responders have to do. Right? Talking about dealing with dead bodies and horrible things that can happen to children and things like that, right? Like things that the rest of us don't want to have to think about, they have to think about because it's part of their job. So reach out to them, tell them you thank them. If you see them, buy them a coffee, or if they come over and if they drink, offer them a beer, just show your respect, show your appreciation. It definitely would mean a lot. And if any of you out there are watching this and you're a first responder, just know how much I appreciate you, and I love you, and I care about you. And every day my wife and I are praying for the first responders. So,
absolutely.
That's the message for today. Do you want to? So I was thinking I'm gonna say your slogan. If you remember my slogan, you can say mine, and we'll close it out with that. So
that's put me on the spot. I don't remember anything, man.
All right,
I don't remember which movies are on where. Okay.
All right, I'll do mine then, and you can do yours. So, Morgan, take us out with your closing.
Conquer tomorrow by preparing today.
And keep planting your seeds, keep stacking your silver. This is Morgan and Prepping with Sarge. You all have a great weekend.